Hello there, sleepy explorer. Are your blankets tucked just right? Are your stuffies snuggled up too? Tonight's tale will take us somewhere magical, where the forest whispers, the porridge is warm, and naps might last forever, unless someone figures out how to wake things up. So, settle in and listen close, because Nuton and Lola are about to step into a storybook where one little nap turns into a sleepy surprise. It all started on a rainy afternoon in Hudson Valley. Raindrops tapped the windows while the warm smell of toast filled the house. Nuton sat by the bookshelf, flipping through a fairy tale book so big it covered his lap like a blanket. Goldilocks again! Lola peeked over his shoulder, brushing purple strands behind her ear. She just walks into someone's house, eats their food, breaks their chair. It's kind of rude, don't you think? Nuton scrunched his nose. Maybe she wasn't being rude. Maybe she was just tired. If I were there, I'd give her soup and slippers and tell the bears it's okay to share. From the top shelf, Witty, glowing gently like a sleepy nightlight, tilted its little star-shaped head. It blinked slowly, then floated down with a curious spin, circling the book in Nuton's lap. Witty's eyes sparkled, and it pointed a tiny star hand to the floor beneath them. A shimmering circle began to form, swirling soft light like syrup in milk. "Witty's opening a portal," Lola whispered, backing up slightly. "Wait! Are we going to the Library of World?" Witty did a confident loop-de-loop and winked. Lola crossed her arms, unsure. "I mean, we're just talking about a story. We can't just change it." But even she leaned forward a little, curious. Nuton was already on his feet. "Let's go! We'll just visit, see what's really going on." He grabbed the fairy tale book tightly. Witty touched its star hand to the center of the floor. Light swirled. In a blink, they were gently lifted into the air and floated downward into the glowing halls of the Library of World. There, nestled between floating bookshelves and glowing lanterns, stood Elwie, the wise library guardian. With feathers that shimmered like moonlight, he looked up from a book and smiled. Ah, curious hearts again. Nuton stepped forward. "Elwie, we want to help Goldilocks. Just make things a little nicer, not so sad or confusing." Elwie chuckled warmly. "Every story has a rhythm," he said, his voice soft like turning pages. "But sometimes, even the rhythm needs a listener." He reached for a book, not the old one with curled pages, but a newer one. It looked like a fairy tale, but its cover shimmered with gentle color. "Let's walk with her," Elwie said. "Not ahead, not behind." As the book opened, a warm light poured out, wrapping them like a hug. One by one, Nuton, Lola, and Witty stepped into the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears, but this time with hearts full of wonder and a plan to be kind. A glowing door opened in the book, and Nuton, Lola, and Witty stepped into the forest of stories. Pine needles crunched gently underfoot. A cozy log cottage stood nearby, with steam curling from the chimney and a little wooden sign. The Bear Family. "Let's fix the story," Nuton whispered. "We'll help Goldilocks feel welcome, and no one will be upset." Lola raised an eyebrow. "Are you sure we should change it?" Whitty floated between them and sneezed. A puff of sleepy sparkles flew into the air. They tiptoed into the cottage. Instead of one bowl of porridge on the table, there were none. "She hasn't arrived yet," Lola said. "We're early." Nuton clapped his hands. "Perfect! Let's make it nice." He laid out slippers, cookies, a warm blanket, and a note that read, "Dear Goldilocks, welcome. Please knock next time. Love, Nuton and Lola Whitty added a nap mask and a sprinkle of sparkly stardust over the bed." A few minutes later, Goldilocks tiptoed in. She blinked, saw the snacks, smiled, and lay right down in the cozy bed. "Ah," Nuton whispered, "she looks happy now." But the sparkly dust from Whitty's sneeze floated across the room. And outside, into the trees. Moments later, Papa Bear yawned and flopped down in the garden. Mama Bear curled up on a mushroom seat. Baby Bear snoozed in a flower bed. The whole forest began to drift off. Birds nodded on branches. Frogs napped in puddles. Even the trees leaned into each other like sleepy hugs. Nuton's eyes widened. "Uh-oh, I think we made everyone too comfy." Lola crossed her arms. "Told you the story had a reason." Nuton gently tiptoed through the napping forest. "We have to fix it," he whispered. "Let's wake the story back up." Whitty tried to snap, but a sleepy bubble floated out instead. "No magic," Lola said. "We need to do this the real way." They gathered pine cones and tapped softly near the bears. No movement. They made porridge and let the smell float on the breeze. Still sleepy. "We need a real ending," Lola said thoughtfully. "Maybe the one that was already written." So Nuton tiptoed back into the cottage and removed the cookies and slippers. Lola carefully sat Goldilocks up and whispered, "Time to go now." Goldilocks blinked, stretched, and walked slowly out the front door. She looked back once and smiled. Then she knocked gently on the door. At that moment, the trees swayed upright. The birds chirped. The bears began to stir. Whitty blinked, the sleepy sparkles fading from its glow. Back in the Library of World, Elwie waited beside the glowing book. "You gave her comfort," he said softly. "But you also gave her a choice." Nuton sat cross-legged. "I didn't want her to get in trouble, but the story works better when it has a little bump in the middle." "Stories help us feel," Elwie said. "Even when they're a bit bumpy," Lola nodded. "And sometimes it's okay if people say no, or if they need their own space." Whitty snuggled into Nuton's hood, already half asleep. The book closed with a soft click, and the warm library lights twinkled overhead. That night, under his own covers, Nuton thought about boundaries and blankets. Maybe the story knew what it was doing after all, he whispered. Lola yawned from her bed. Sometimes people need a nap, and sometimes they need a nudge. Whitty floated near the ceiling with a tiny teddy bear it had found in the forest. Its glow dimmed gently like a soft nightlight. So now, as your thoughts get cozy and your heart feels warm, remember, we don't have to fix every story. Sometimes we just need to listen to what it's telling us. Good night, forest friend. May your dreams be gentle, respectful, and full of cozy adventures.